Namaskar friends. 64 crores bribe. Can a CEO really do this? A top bank CEO accepting a 64 crore rupees bribe and approving a 300 crore loan. Can you believe it? And the money ended up right in her husband's company. In this video, we are diving deep into the case of former ICICI Bank CEO Chanda Kochhar and a major corruption scandal involving a 300 crore loan and a 64 crore bribe. This is not just any scam. It is one of the biggest finance scandals in Indian bank history. What makes it even crazier? The SEBI Tribunal has now overturned a previous clean chit and revealed some shocking truths. You won't believe how deep this goes. Alright, let us break it down step by step. The entire ICICI Videocon loan scam traces back to year 2009 when Chanda Kochhar was the CEO of ICICI Bank. At that time, a large industrial group, Videocon, applied for 300 crore loan, and this was not a low risk project, it was already in a high risk zone. In high risk zone cases, normally loan will not be granted by the banks. Despite that, the loan was approved, and guess who led the loan approval committee? Chanda Kochhar herself. The tribunal later confirmed that she had personal connections with Videocon's promoter. Once the loan was sanctioned, what happened next was even more suspicious. 64 crores rupees was routed from a Videocon related company to NuPower Renewables Private Limited, a company run by Chanda Kochhar's husband Deepak Kochhar. Here is how the money moved. 64 crore rupees was transferred via Supreme Energy Private Limited, SEPL, to NRPL. SEPL was majorly owned and controlled by Deepak Kochhar. In simple terms, a loan approved by the CEO ended up benefiting her own husband's company. That is the textbook definition of conflict of interest. The tribunal said it clearly. Chanda Kochhar cannot claim, I didn't know about the connection. She chaired the meeting and approved the loan. There is no room for denial. Now, up until this point, everything looks very obvious. But here is the twist. The PMLA adjudicating authority had earlier given Chanda Kochhar a clean chit. Their reasoning, since she didn't directly hold shares in NRPL, there was no personal gain, hence no money laundering. Yeah, what a wonderful thing. Her husband can have money. This argument didn't sit well with either the Enforcement Directorate or SEBI Appellate Tribunal. The tribunal's findings were crystal clear. Deepak Kochhar, her husband, had full operational control over NRPL. He owned 95% of SEPL, which in turn controlled NRPL. Videocon's promoter Venugopal Dhoot transferred SEPL's ownership to Deepak Kochhar in January 2009. This entire transaction trail showed clear signs of a benami style transaction. That is, holding assets in another's name to hide ownership. The tribunal concluded that just because Chanda's name wasn't on paper doesn't mean she didn't benefit. Control matters more than ownership in such cases. What happened after? In January 2020, ED attached assets worth 78 crores rupees from the Kochhars. In November 2020, the PMLA authority reversed this and cancelled the attachment. But in February 2024, the tribunal overturned that reversal, reinstating ED's stand that this was a legitimate case of money laundering. That means clear case of money laundering. That is when things really heated up. And that's not all. Deepak Kochhar was arrested by ED in September 2020 Chanda Kochhar was also arrested by CBI in December 2022. In January 2023, both were granted interim bail by the Bombay High Court. Then in February 2024, the High Court ruled that the arrest itself was illegal and a misuse of power. Now here comes the irony. On one side, the tribunal confirms that there is enough evidence of bribery and money laundering. But on the other, the High Court says you didn't follow the law when arresting them. For the public, this gives mixed signals, like powerful people can still dodge consequences even if the evidence is very clear. Let us recap. In 2009, Chanda Kochhar approved a 300 crore rupees loan to Videocon group. Soon after, 64 crore rupees found its way to her husband's company, NuPower Renewables. The money was routed via a company controlled by her husband. The tribunal called it a clear conflict of interest and probable money laundering. In my view, it is clear case of money laundering. If the bribe money is routed, it is money laundering. The ED's asset attachment was initially reversed but later restored by the tribunal. Both Kochhars were arrested, then got bail, and finally their arrest was deemed unlawful by the High Court. What is the lesson here? People in power must be held accountable. If even a bank CEO can misuse her position to help her own family and still nearly escape consequences, it shows how crucial transparency and proper enforcement are in our system. A CEO is supposed to protect the trust of shareholders and the public, but misusing that trust for personal gains, that can erase an entire career in seconds. Joke. Banker asks one question: why did you approve the 300 crore rupees loan without due diligence? Chanda thinks in her mind, because my husband already had plans for a cashback.